We're off to see composer-editor Scott Taylor in his flat downtown in Gastown, Vancouver. So we made it, and I just rung up Scott, and apparently he needs to put some pants on. Anyway, this is town. Catch all that.
And we are live and recording. I don't know if it's in sync, but it at least is going, so there you go.
Something's moving?
Yes, it is. So, God, my hair looks terrible.
You have lots of room here. You don't even need it here.
Well, I have been using this area for that because I got
bodyweight calisthenic fucking cornucopia.
I know. Well, what I want to do is actually get a pull-up bar hammered to the roof so I can actually use that.
You got that?
Oh, I know, but the trouble is that thing has to go in a doorway.
Oh.
It'd be handier if I could actually just get it nailed to the beams because. Yeah, no, I avoid touching those. I don't even like to look at them, lest they decide they don't like my face and decide to just soak everything.
That's such a good place. What is it? So envious. This is like Studio A or First Studio.
Studio A, I like that.
Your New York
Studio One. I think that would be awesome. I mean, if I were to be associated with anything, being associated for the sexiest of male demons, yeah, I could live with that. That's not a bad thing. And actually, that was always my concept for Demon Song, was that it was a horror porn, but with really awesome dramatic music. So the whole story, as much as it's just a tale of pain, debauchery, and woe, is punctuated by some pretty meaningful music. So that was always my thing to do, and I'm still going to do that. I kind of feel a little bit bad that I haven't made any progress or that much, because I've been doing all the other comics, and I'm doing so many of those. But also, I didn't want to start the Demon Song project until my skill level improved with the artwork, so that I could, have a decent look. And now, you've seen some of the stuff I do with Demon Shock and that, and the artwork's definitely looking good now. So I think I would like to, I'd like to be able to take that to the Demon Song project. Yep. Do you mind?
Your neighbors are giant termites.
Well, the upstairs floor is business, so they're all businessing right now.
Is this a work day? Oh, it is. For
yes, I know,
people.
for normal people.
Normal people, they have jobs. Yeah.
The normies, yeah.
The normies. Yeah.
The muggles.
Yeah, it explains the steward in that was wonderful. So the composition side of it, that'd be cool.
Yeah,
I think so. Or are you going to write new things?
I'm going to write new things. I mean, at the moment, my teaser trailer uses music from actually something I wrote for a competition, which actually was the reason that Demon Song came along in the first place, because I wrote music for a competition in 2014. It got me absolutely nowhere. It broke my heart because I worked so hard. And I don't know, maybe it just, because you're supposed to email it in, perhaps it just, well, not email, but, upload. And perhaps I did something wrong and it just never got to them in the first place. But for whatever reason, it didn't get anywhere, and it really pissed me off that it didn't even get so much as an honorable mention. And so at that point I decided, right, I'm done with film music, I'm done with the music industry, because and I decided to die, I didn't do it straight away, because of course I went through weeks of depression. But then when I stumbled across, when I stumbled across the 3D stuff and found how fun that was, and started pissing around with making demons and stuff, and then I thought, oh, I could do animation, and then I did the animation. I made my first teaser, and did that with some music from that trailer, from the oh, come on, brain, from the competition. And it sounded cool, and of course, you've seen it, and it's a simple, bit of animation with, camera pans, and I need to redo that with my new version of Ariel, because it's, he looks better now. And it's so funny that that initial trailer took me a month and a half to render. 4 computers worked for a month and a half to steam out the frames for that, because I very stupidly did it in 4K, and I did it with volumetric lighting and particle effects and shit. I hadn't realized that that kind of thing could be done in post. And so I learned.
Learning curve.
Oh, I learned so much from doing that. I did it completely the wrong way, and yet it was the right way to do it. To learn, because I ended up knowing what not to do next. But anyway, I was so happy with how that trailer came out, because the end shot, which is Ariel walking out of the shadow, and you see these beautiful fiery wings, just sort of move up and everything, and the music and everything was like, this could be a concept, this could work. So yeah, that thus begin the Demon Song concept. And I kind of wish I'd done a bit more on it already, but I needed the artwork to improve. So now that it has, I need to take that a step further. In fact, the thing I've got now is, because so much of my artwork relies on things like Pixlr to do effects and color grades and stuff. That's only for using on still images. So I need to find the video editing equivalent, because there's certain things I might be able to do it with DaVinci. But there's certain types of effects and things that I wouldn't know how to reproduce beyond using it in Pixlr. And Pixlr is made by Autodesk, so I kind of have to see how I can either get those plugins or figure out how those plugins are made so that I can apply those same effects to it. Because half the reason my 3D end up looking good is because of a particular plugin which heightens the shadow lines, so it makes them look even more three-dimensional than they are just on the page, the image, and it softens it and darkens it a little bit, but in a way that I can't really describe. So I don't know how that works, but if I could figure that out, it would make a moving image look that much better. And also figuring out how to do motion blur is kind of essential, because I can't really do that right now. It's one of the things that lets down some of my animation. It looks very steppy, very blocky, because there's a lack of fluid motion blur, and yeah.
What's that
from?
Is that from Daz?
Yeah, because unfortunately iRay is capable of rendering with motion blur, but Daz does not have it enabled yet. I don't quite know what the hang-up is there. Obviously there's a reason they haven't done it, because otherwise they would have done it. So yeah, I don't know if maybe it's just a limitation of the software. I know that there are ways to calculate motion blur, but it's very convoluted, because you have to, when it renders the thing, it has to render an entire new version of that image just for the motion blur. It collects a whole series, because if you're doing like animation, it collects a whole bunch of images which you then have to layer on later in some sort of weird process. So it's really not a simple process. If only you could just hit add motion blur, that would be brilliant. Which you can do in 3Delight, but you can't do in iRay. So that kind of sucks. And I don't really want to use 3Delight, because iRay looks so much better, and I've gotten so used to being able to set surfaces as emissive properties, and I wouldn't want to not have that. You just can't do that in 3Delight. It doesn't look as good. So yeah.
Time to graduate to another program, I suppose.
Oh God, yeah. But every program I've looked at is like, none of this is friendly. If I want to have a model of a person, I have to literally build them from scratch, and I don't want to do that. I like using the DAZ models, and I like using the stuff that they've got with them, because it's just it's friendly for an artist. There's nothing stopping you there's nothing stopping you rendering a scene and putting that in another thing for the sake of rendering there. But yeah, I don't know. It's sometimes too many hats to wear. I mean, God, I thought I'd done pretty well just to transition from the world of making music to to being a film editor, and then to be a 3D artist, and all in one. It's like kind of crazy. I was showing somebody the other day the opening for Indie Action, the season 1, where we pan from the outside of the satellite, there's that the outside. Then we pan through the window along the control room, and they looked at me and they said, "You did this?" I was like, "Yeah, I know it's not brilliant." And they said, "You did this?" I was like, "This is the sort of job that's done by 10 people, right?" It's like, really? Okay. So that made me feel better about the fact that it doesn't look stellar, but they were pretty impressed about the fact that one person did something that usually takes 10 people.